it's Natana. Welcome to today's episode of Empath versus Narcissist. I was just on Facebook and I was in a sisters group. I could not tell you how many times I saw the word narcissist, and it just really drives me up the effing wall. I've spent like 3.5 years in therapy, and one of the best things I've ever gotten out of therapy was my ability to have more empathy, which is funny because naturally I'm an empath, but have more empathy for people, quote unquote, who are a narcissist. Now, going down the mental health rabbit hole, one of the things that you learn when you are actually doing the work is that you as an empath are a mirror for the narcissist. Y'all are one and the same. You both were children who were abused. You both were children who were forced to grow up fast. An empath chose the path of being an adult and the parent, and the narcissist chose the path of staying the child even though they were forced to grow up like an adult or be treated like an adult. So they ended up being more as that child. And naturally in this empath versus narcissist relationship, or not versus, but this empath narcissistic relationship dynamic, that's the perfect match, because you are subconsciously trying to parent the broken child, and that broken child is subconsciously looking for this parent. Okay, and you guys end up finding each other, and then it all implodes because obviously we're all hurt people that are just hurting people, even when we're not being honest with ourselves or our partners, not being true, not being able to have assertion and say no when it's appropriate to say no. We're telling lies to smooth over the situation. I'm naming off things that empaths actually do that is toxic. That, I've spent lots of time in therapy asking my therapist, multiple therapists, I think I'm a narcissist. And the one thing they always tell me is, well, you're definitely not a narcissist, because a narcissist would never say that. Like, that's just one thing. And I just don't believe them, because I have these traits of narcissism. And if you really look deep at yourself as an empath, you will see that you do have traits as a narcissist. Everybody has them, but some of us display it more than others. And they like to label it as the dark empath. It's just more so somebody who is very unaware of their own toxicity, that doesn't look exactly like the narcissist, but is exactly like the narcissist, that's coming off more sweet and victim-esque of being abused from a quote-unquote narcissist. I'm not really sure if I'm really making sense, because I'm really rambling off right now. I'm pretty heated. I'm pretty upset about this, but this is obviously something that really doesn't get talked about in the community of mental health, and also the spiritual community, the new age community, and or women's health. It's really sad to me because, there's a lot of therapists out there that don't even want to work with narcissists. And my thought process of this is, how are we supposed to heal our mental health as a society when our professionals don't even want to help everybody? I just can't wrap my mind around that concept of a professional therapist's inability to work with a quote-unquote narcissist. But you can work with a sociopath, and you could work with all these other people, but you just can't find the strength in yourself. That tells me that those people are broken themselves. And it takes a very special person to be a therapist, a very strong, caring, loving person. And I would assume a lot of therapists are more so empaths. Not all, but, it's just it's very sad, because hurt people. This is a learned habit. This is something that is environmental. You are not born broken. You are taught to be broken. You are broken down through abuse and the environment. Okay. So I just really wanted to put this out there for every person who is highly sensitive, who believes themselves to still be a victim, and that still believes in this narcissist empath dynamic, that, you know, those people are just horrible people. I'm not saying spend your time with them and give them another chance and to heal them. That's not what I'm saying. If that's not your calling, that's not your calling. If you're not a professional therapist, then don't do it. It's not your job, you know. Stay away, take care of yourself, but do the inner work as yourself, and take the responsibility for yourself to really see what this mirror is that's going on. Energy attracts energy. Energy is not created nor destroyed. Okay, so whatever you're putting out there, is that vibration is calling to that in those people. And those people are matching your vibration as well. And yes, there are people out there that are chameleons that can shape shift and energy shift. Okay, but still, you're putting out that vibration. So what is it in yourself? Like for me in particular, I like to smooth things over. I don't want to get into conflict, because when I get in conflict, I blow the fuck up and I lose my shit. And it's really terrifying to others and to myself. And so these are things that I've really had to work on, that I'm still working on. And I just implore you to really take the time to really do the work, the emotional work, you know, get yourself help book, but also find a professional. Yeah. It's so funny because I really didn't want to say get your self-help book. I really just wanted to tell you to go straight to the professional, and there it is. It's definitely clarified for me. So anyways, I'm done ranting for this morning about the empath narcissist dynamic, and I guess I want to end this on a last note. I watched this video the other night about this gentleman who was talking about Peter Pan syndrome. And if you don't know what Peter Pan syndrome is, it's pretty much people that don't want to grow up. And in my astrology, I literally have Peter Pan syndrome in my astrology. Like you could see it, and it's labeled as Peter Pan syndrome in astrology. There's another term for it in astrology. I just can't think of it right now. And so to hear a therapist say that, I thought it was really interesting, because they're not using astrology when they're talking about this narcissist empath dynamic. So this therapist went through ways of how to get beyond this Peter Pan syndrome. And one of the ways that they said to do it, which I thought was really controversial in my opinion, being somebody who has struggled with this, is to have children. And I was just like, damn, like that's so harsh. And that's something I struggle with. Like I never wanted to have children, really. I mean, I did, but then I didn't, because I did not want to pass on all the struggle and trauma and pain that I've been through, and abuse and break down a pure, innocent human being with all the inability of myself to be able to cultivate a healthy human being. And it came to my attention that that was also a way for me to avoid growing up and taking responsibility, even more so of being a human being in life. Not saying that it's everybody's role to be a parent in life. That's not what I'm saying. But I just thought, how interesting is that? Like that could be yet another way that I'm avoiding growing up, quote unquote. It's great to be an inner child and to express that and to be able to pay the bills and be responsible. But in another way, like this person had a really good point, because I am only responsible for myself, and a big part of me being deterred from having a family or, you know, children is the responsibility part. I don't desire to have all that responsibility. I didn't feel ready for that responsibility, you know, at least not by myself completely, right? And let alone with another partner. Needed to find the right partner that isn't Peter Pan syndrome like myself, so that way I knew there would be somewhat success going on here. But on the counterpart to that, I thought, well, that's really not good advice to be giving people, because if these people haven't worked through their mental health issues, they haven't healed their inner child, they don't have rationality when it comes to thought processes, and they're still screaming narcissist, 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 you know, like, yeah, maybe it's going to help you grow up, but you're still going to be a broken person trying to evolve, grow, teach, and breed these children. So, I mean, there's clearly a fine line that's going on here, in my opinion. But I just thought, how interesting was that? So, yeah. Okay, guys, I'm out of here. I hope you got something out of this. I'm not saying this to shame people, blame people, start a fight. That's not what's going on. It's just more for educational purposes, that if you are an empath and you've been going through a healing journey, I implore you to go get mental health services from a professional, and to really dig deep and to ask them about what a dark empath is, and if you feel like you have narcissistic tendencies and things like that. And I know a lot of that is from abuse and whatnot, but like, see all sides of a situation. There's more than one truth, because life is dualistic and you can't have one without the other. All right, guys, I love you. Bye.